What is going on, everybody? Welcome in. It is Thursday. That means it is time to preview fights that are going down in about 48 hours from now. And we are so excited to have you guys here to preview UFC Vegas 92. Lerone Murphy, first fight stateside, first fight in the main event. He's taking on old reliable Edson Barbosa at featherweight. Should be a good card. We'll preview all 12 fights on it. But first, I've got to turn it over to my man, the myth, the long shot legend, Matty Tanner. And I've got to ask him, on a scale of 1 to 10, how angry are you at Keith Peterson today, 4 days after one of the most asinine atrocities of refereeing that I've ever seen that cost you an absolutely surgical read, brother?
You know what's funny, bro? Is today's the first day I hadn't thought about it until you just brought it up.
Oh, no.
But, bro, I'm telling you, I was fucking hurt, dude. It's funny because I posted a video, Chase Hooper by KO. I put it on TikTok, Instagram, pretty much everywhere. And every person clowned me on the video. And honestly, I like when people clown me before the fight, right? Because, like, if you're willing to speak your mind and say it's a stupid pick before the fight, then I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say it after, and you're like, oh, what a stupid pick. Like, everything's a stupid pick after it loses, right? But you have no idea how badly I wanted to just get back in people's faces after that cashed. But it didn't cash. It should have cashed. It was right there. It was close to cashing. The odds I knew were mispriced.
Yep.
Chase Hooper, I didn't see him. I didn't think he would land a huge overhand right like that. But even when he did, he was dominant on his top game, ground and pound. I know he doesn't have the most powerful strikes. Like people say those are like pillow hands, but he landed big elbows. He landed so many shots to the face on the ground. The dude's head was about to explode with this massive lump on it. And then I still to this day don't even know if he actually tapped.
Right.
But what blows me away is why is Keith Peterson so willing to let a fight go and go and go and not call a TKO? But when there's like half a second to even believe that he tapped, it's like, oh, the fight's over.
Yep.
It drives me crazy, bro. To answer your question, probably a 9.5, maybe 10. I don't know if I've ever been that mad losing a bet. The only thing that comes to mind is the Jillian Robertson Polyana Viana fight when I needed the last leg to cash a 30K parlay.
Yeah.
And it was a 3-leg submission leg 1 submission, leg 2 submission hit. The harder submissions to win. Jillian Robertson was the easiest submission or the most expected submission out of the 3. And then she almost has the sub in round 1 and she gets the ground and pound round 2. I was pissed on that night too.
Yeah. I felt so bad for you. Like I said, I didn't know exactly how that fight was going to go, but it transpired as you did. I'm done doubting lightweight Chase Hooper. Like when you're starting to knock down guys like Claus on top of that ground game, like Hooper can beat a lot of guys in that division.
Sure.
I'm done doubting it. Poor week for me last week in St. Louis. It's one of those very humbling gambling experiences. I deserved worse. That was not my worst card of the week, but like trusting Mateusz Rebecki, really dumb in hindsight with his level of competition against a guy like Diego Ferreira who had been there, done that. Rebellis to Spain. Like, that's something I never would see coming doing this the way I do it because we hadn't seen any sniff of Waldo grappling in UFC. But, he figured it out. He's like, hey, if I can get this guy on the ground, he's a fish out of water. And he was.
Yeah.
It was a tough, challenging betting week. I don't think this one is nearly as tough. I had a bad feeling about last week's card. I feel like for an Apex card, this one's pretty standard. We kind of know what we're going to get. It's just about digging into the margins. So why don't we do so? We'll move forward and stop talking about Keith Peterson and preview this first fight up on the card here. Women's strawweight, weirdly just outside the rankings. Emily Ducot taking on Vanessa Demopoulos. We've seen these ladies both multi-time UFC winners, maybe a testament to what women's strawweight looks like in general. Interesting line to me. I think from a betting perspective, you look at this fight, and I feel like the margin is very close. Odds makers are kind of giving you a hint into that. Yet Ducot sits at minus 370. It's actually shortened a little bit, minus 355 live here on FanDuel, but still a hefty, prohibitive favorite. I'm curious what you think of this fight and if the chalk, which is Ducot by decision, would be appropriate.
Yeah, I just think Vanessa, she's so low volume, right? And I think Ducot she's a 92. What's it, a 92% takedown defense?
Yeah, very good.
So you kind of wonder how Vanessa can win this fight in the first place. And then this is one of those fights, and I haven't even looked at the price yet, but I can only imagine what the over 2.5 is. As far as the odds, it's got to be unbelievably expensive.
It is minus 450, which is why when I talked about
Okay.
eating a chalk, Ducati by points minus 175 here.
I
So
would
it's
actually lay that in a parlay. I really would.
wow.
And you never see me lay anything over like minus 300, minus 350 on a parlay.
Yeah.
But I would actually lay that one. I would be comfortable laying it.
Yeah. Like this was a challenging one for me because I generally like Ducati. I have since her UFC debut. I think she's performed exactly to expectation thus far, where she thoroughly beat up in a decision both Jessica Panay and Ashley Yoder. And then on the other side, she lost badly to Angela Hill. Remember, that was a total ass kicking. And then Lupe Godinez was able to beat her at distance. Like, that's why I don't think Vanessa is going to take her down in this fight, is Lupe wasn't able to. And Lupe is a significantly more efficient fighter with her takedowns. Like, and she's just a lot bigger, a lot stronger. Like, it's a different challenge. The concern for me is that I was waiting for Ducati to separate against Yoder in her last fight, and it never really came. And the thing that bothers me is that if this is a close fight, Demopoulos has a way of just kind of making it dirty. I feel like she's got more dog in her than Ducati does. Just make it dirty, get close, have tight enough moments to try to win a decision. I don't think she can get her on the ground. I think she's a less efficient striker. But at the same time, the way MMA judging is, I feel like I have to auto bet Vanessa by points in this spot. I laid a half unit on her money line when it was like plus 270 or some whatever it was. I just think that it's too close. This fight's going to be way too close in the margins and go the distance to not lay that on the underdog the way judging is. That's just kind of I'm not going to financially overexpose myself to this fight. I think it's just so clear how it looks.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I probably won't touch this,
Yeah.
truthfully, but I think the Cody will win a comfortable decision, but I can't
Yeah.
argue with your viewpoints here.
I feel I'm just afraid Ducati. If I was going to lay Ducati by points, I'm afraid she would take the back foot, and the optics would not be in her favor. If they allowed judges, like I've asked them to look at significant strike numbers to see who's actually landing, we got a comment. Ducati's going to double her up in strikes. I agree with that. It just doesn't really matter to judges. Like it really is just who's dictating the action. I feel like Demopoulos. The thing I do like about Vanessa, she's trained at Extreme Couture with Eric Nixick and Sean Strickland, like that team. One of my favorite gyms in the entire sport. Whether or not it's actually made her better is a question mark. Like Mark McMahon trains there too. So, so
Yeah.
I don't really know if it's actually helped improve. Like, I feel like her jiu-jitsu is okay. Hasn't really found a way to use it. Like, the only thing that is interesting is that 5'2" on both sides. Vanessa's not significantly smaller, which is usually the dynamic. No, she's got a couple inches of reach, but it's usually like 7 or 8, like it was against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. So I think post-traumatic judging disorder, very fair, very fair. I mean, like, but this is the thing is that, like, would I rather lay Ducati by points minus 175 or Demopoulos by points at like plus 400? Let me check what it's coming. Yeah, plus 460.
Oh,
Is
that's
the
a good
difference
number. No,
is the
that's a good
difference in
number.
implied probability there that different that the judges get it right? Like, I mean, what was the fight last week? I think Caceres was like minus 250 at close, and the judges gave Woodson a unanimous decision. So
Yeah.
the
Thank God, by
variance
the
there,
way. Thank God
yeah,
I Woodson by decision.
yeah. A lot of people big mad about
There
that
was
one.
a couple fights that I felt like were close to robberies, but like I thought I was wrong on, and I got them right. Well,
Yeah.
I got them right. I think the Sean Woodson fight, and what was the other fight you texted me about?
Ricci and Pennington.
Ricci, yeah,
That was close.
Ricci's just a baddie, bro. The judges were just in awe of how good she looked, and they just gave her the nod. That's the
I
only way, because
I
I
guess.
just don't know how she won. I really don't. I thought she lost 2-1.
Yeah, I
But
guess, man. But the thing is that that's what I'm talking about. Is I see that as overwhelming variance with my betting strategy. Some weeks that's going to go your way, and then some weeks it's not. And it's like
yeah,
I just have to put myself in a position of whether or not it's going to.
I like it a lot more now that you told me it's plus 460. I'm
Yeah,
actually surprised you're getting a plus 200 more on that when she ain't finishing the Cody. Like,
yeah,
like she. That's interesting. Plus 460 is a solid number.
yeah. Demopoulos on all sorts of good vitamins. I don't think Ducoti's going to end up getting a finish here, but I think I just have to take it. That was my plan. I modeled this fight. I've actually got Vanessa favored. I don't feel comfortable with that result. I think it's kind of skewed because of the Angela Hill beat down for Ducot, that her striking numbers are really bad
Yeah.
at a different level of competition. But if it's close enough that my model's like, hey, it's close, then plus 460 on the decision does sound good. So
Yeah, the Angela Hill beatdown is ugly. 182 to 71 in
right.
strikes.
And it's not like Angela Hill. Like, I like Angie. We're going to talk about Angie later on this card. It's not like she's a world beater. She's really struggled inside the rankings, losing
Right.
records. So maybe a little bit of a red flag. But we'll move
Yeah.
on here. Who doesn't want more women's strawweight in their life, right? Piera Rodriguez taking on Ariane Carnelossi. Interesting. This is probably further down in the rankings, but further up the fight order. I think UFC's playing around with maybe a more high-profile fight first to get you to tune in here. This is definitely not that. Rodriguez coming off a loss to your girl, Jillian Robertson, by submission in her last fight. We haven't seen Ariane Carnelossi in a couple of years. Don't think it's a surprise that she's back with USADA, now a thing of the past. Intriguing fight. Another heavy favorite at women's strawweight. What could go wrong? Rodriguez minus 235. What are you thinking here? Because I've got action on this fight that isn't super relevant the way the lines moved.
I think Rodriguez could get a KO here, bro, but I don't know if what's her name's roided out though.
Well, I mean, certainly if you look at her Instagram, I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but like she's clearly like a bodybuilder more than a fighter. Like she's really struggled
Yeah.
in the UFC. You see 43% striking defense, kind of a punching bag, 8% takedown defense. That's the fear with Piera. When Piera took Sam Hughes down 5 times, and Sam's got pretty good takedown defense. She's tough.
Yeah.
She never quits on herself. Like that's my fear, is that Ariana gets stuck in bottom position for large parts of this fight. And it's interesting you say that, dude, because like I made it when I got parlayed Piera at minus 165, which by the way, you should join the Home of Fight Discord. It's super cool. We're gonna have a description in the link. You can get my picks, Maddie's picks, Clint McLean, Hey Jive, a lot of good stuff there. If you subscribe to the Discord, I gave this out on Sunday. I parlayed Rodriguez. She was minus 165. So before this trip kind of left the station, and I saw a few other guys did as well. This price is really hard right now when the margins are pretty unsure here. We haven't seen Carnelossi in a while, but I liked her there, and I knew I was going to be on her inside the distance props just because of the experience advantage going there with Sam Hughes, having a little bit of success with Jillian Robertson before she ended up getting submitted. But plus 270 inside the distance, I think, is a good price when Carnelossi hasn't seen the score. I think she saw the scorecards once if she survived Loopy. But like she was knocked out. Let me get this straight for everybody. Yeah, Angela Hill got her in the 3rd round, gave up 8 takedowns to Loopy, was able to survive. And then when she won her 2 UFC fights, it did not go the distance. So a little bit more violent, sloppy than traditional trends here at strawweight. I think Rodriguez's inside the distance number is a good one.
Yeah, Rodriguez round 2, 3 KO. Round 2, 16 to 1. Round 3 is 24 to 1.
Yeah. I would go late. You saw Carnelossi finish in round 3 when she lost, and then round 2, 3 finishes when this is women's strawweight, and Carnelossi's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I don't think she's totally lost in that regard. But I really think there is a different skill plane of these fighters. But this is something that I'm trying to consider, is all of a sudden these guys are coming out of the woodworks 2 years off, and they're coming out of the woodworks and they're underdogs because their resume looks bad, and they come back a completely different fighter. That's what I'm a little afraid of here with Carnelossi, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So,
well, not a ton to dissect here, but
no, I think
the 2 first fights of the night. I don't even. It's funny though. I have to be honest to all the degenerates on the stream watching right now. Every time there's a card where I skip like the first fight or two, 30 seconds before the fight starts, I just put something in. Just because I gotta sweat it, even if it's a smaller bet. So I'm usually watching with like a Hey Jive picks or like, my boy Brad or somebody here. And I'll usually or if you have a play on it, right? I'll usually take your play or Hayden's. And if I don't have action on like the first fight of the night, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm by my TV watching the fights. So I'll just tail something of yours or Hayden's. But if it doesn't make my card, I'm still sweating something most likely.
Yeah, just a little sprinkle on something. Got to keep it interesting. Yeah. It moves decently well. I think UFC is one of the best betting experiences you can get in all of sports. Like there's so many different angles you can take. If you can't find 10 to 12 plays on any given card. Like, you need to find a new UFC handicapper. Like, I see a few people, they're like, I got one money line, I'm taking the week off. It's like, bud, we got a billion markets to dive through. And that, I kind of have a hard time explaining that to my coworkers, where I'm like, yeah, I have 25 bets on this card. And they're like, oh my God, what's wrong with this guy? But
Right.
it's like little tiny nibbles here and there. Maybe we'll find another one here in this next fight up at bantamweight. I think it's an intriguing one. Clay Edson Rodriguez taking on Alatang Haili. A lot of different moving parts here. Cledson, the former flyweight, he knocked out Shannon Ross, moves up, runs into a Basharat, bro. I believe that was Javid that he ran into. Did not go well. Yeah, it was Fareed.
Yeah.
Who was the one that just lost? I get them backwards all the time.
Fareed's undefeated.
Fareed's the good one. Okay, yeah, Fareed, yeah, and then Javid just lost to Zahavi. So he ran into Fareed. Fareed submitted him in the first round. Not a ton of shame in that. The same I'd say for Alatang Haili, coming off a loss to Chris Gutierrez on short notice. Gutierrez was a really tough matchup for him. Both these guys have a good chance to rebound here, and it's a decently close fight with Rodriguez at -162. What are you thinking here, Matty?
I don't know what to do with this fight. I kind of think it's dog or pass here. I don't like the fact that Rodriguez got submitted so early against Fareed. I mean, I don't think he's gonna have that danger in this matchup, but I don't know. I just don't think his recent win. I mean, Shannon Ross, like, I mean, you just look at Cledson Rodriguez. He looks like a killer. Like he's somebody you want to back. And I like, even right now, me looking at the graphic, I'm like, I want to bet on this dude, but Alatang Haili, man, he finds ways to win.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm torn here. I think it's dog or pass as of right now. I do want to look at some of the props and see what these numbers are real quick.
Yeah, this is certainly an interesting fight. I waffled on both sides of this. Same with you, which is like, I'm not really concerned about the submission danger from Alatang Haili, but he does have a really solid wrestling game. 1.82 takedowns per 15, 40% accuracy. Does he get top time? When Cledson showed that weakness, and the biggest red flag, of course, is that was Cledson's first appearance at bantamweight as a pro. So is he just too small for this 135-pound weight class? But he can't make 125. We've seen a couple of those tweeners, and you look how Alatang Haili fought Ryan Benoit, who was another guy, former flyweight, bounced between both divisions, took him down 4 times, won by split decision. So I think I'm with you. I think it is dog or pass. I kind of lean like more of a points outcome for Alatang.
I was just gonna say he's plus 300 by decision, and I'm really starting to like that number, especially if he implements the wrestling.
Yeah, I feel like if this fight has length, it's a good thing for Alatang Haili, because like you said, he does dictate the pace in a lot of these fights. Like Dana Batgarel, better striker than he was able to dictate the pace and squeak out a decision with a few takedowns, right? I feel like he is a good wrestler and doesn't maybe get the credit for that. Now, I get Alatang Haili mixed up with who's the other? Aoki Long. That's the other guy I get him mixed up with. Both at bantamweight from China. I get them mixed up constantly, but they both kind of have that same skill set where they do have that wrestling element that is interesting. And Hailey's power is kind of an intriguing element here, right? He knocked out Kevin Kroom in 47 seconds when Kroom was coming down in weight. I feel like my model would not do well with Hailey because he had the lopsided loss to Casey Kenny. I like Casey Kenny a lot. By the way, where's Casey Kenny? I've had that thought this week. Been a while since we've seen him. I really like him. And then Chris Gutierrez, probably above his skill level, but I don't think that's what you're getting from Cledson by takedown defense, by power, by a lot of different things. So I haven't laid his money line. I think I'm with you. I kind of like the decision angle better, 3-1, maybe a half unit nibble and move on.
I like the decision too, but the more I think about it, like, you bring up some good points. I mean, this might just be a better money line play, truthfully.
Yeah.
When some of these other outcomes could happen.
It'd be really sad if we laid decision, then all of a sudden, like, Hailey showed off a submission game or was able to get his back and sink in a rear naked choke, so.
I got to take a peek at that just to see.
Yeah. What, the submission angle?
Guess the number.
It is 20-1. I see it on FanDuel.
Right okay, yep, 20-1.
so you're getting 50-1 on every round, then probably on FanDuel, and it's speaking your
easily, yeah.
Easily. Interestingly enough, okay, round 1 42-1, and then the other two are 50-1.
I think I have to auto bet it, bro. Just I mean, the guy gets subbed in the first round in his last fight, and I think he's gonna get taken down in this fight. You know. I think I have to auto sprinkle there, but I like his money line. In all seriousness, I think he's a solid underdog. I do want to watch some more tape footage before I lock it in, but
Yeah.
I think he's a solid dog here.
So first, that was his first pro loss as via submission. Interesting. I'm looking
Yeah.
back at his offensive submissions here. One in 2016, and then another was at least before that, because it's you kind of get into that territory where it's not listed by method of victory. So really, not a lot of pro submission experience here for Rodriguez whatsoever. And Alateng Haile on the other side. Um, let's see, he's got 3 pro wins via submission. Last of them coming in 2015.
Yeah.
So not a ton of submission danger on either side here, but like 20-1 for a ground fighter, for a guy that's shown that lapse in UFC. Like I agree with you that I think I now might be concerned given the difference in price, because if I, for whatever reason, if I left out knockout and you go to a sub decision prop, plus 240, so the number is barely worse than just decision. So
Right.
maybe I lump it in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot to think about. It's good you're on the same side, though. I've been a little split on that fight, so it's good to hear that from you. So why don't we move on? Because
For
again,
sure.
early prelims on the Apex. I already know we're going to disagree about this one. I have a gut feeling about it.
Maybe
Um,
not. Maybe not.
maybe not. As Abus Magomedov taking on Warley Alves, I think both of these guys have a lot to prove after their last couple of fights, where Abus looks like a rock star in round 1 against Sean Strickland, and then it's just all downhill from there. Kaio dominated him in the fight afterward, of course, got finished. And then they sent my boy Warley to pasture against Ikram Aliskerov. He was knocked down in the first round. First time he'd been at middleweight in since 2014. He really didn't have a winnable assignment there against Ikram. This one I think is a little bit more winnable, but still, when you look at the odds, Magomedov a minus 300 favorite nearly. So intriguing fight, likely favored to not go the distance. So curious what angle maybe you're thinking about here, Maddie, if you said maybe not.
Are you on Alves?
I'm leaning. I don't have any action on this fight yet, but I think I've been looking for who's going to mush this chalk parlay favorite, and I feel like Abus is not getting enough credit for that. I am really worried about his gas tank when Warley's a guy that has a lot of UFC experience. He definitely has a punching power advantage by knockdown rate. Like I feel like Warley, if he can drag this into a little bit of deeper waters, not cutting as much weight, might be kind of live later. Maybe I play the over here.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Warley Alves by submission is plus 950. Is that crazy?
Really?
He's got a great guillotine.
Yeah.
Magomedov is known for gassing.
Yep.
I don't know whether these guys are going to come out in the first round, and like even someone in the comments said they're afraid the gas and going to spar early.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's going to be one of two extremes, right? It's going to be either they're going to try to kill each other early, or maybe he's right. It's going to be like a little bit of sparring early.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think Alves on the 3-fight skid. The Nicholas Dalby split decision loss isn't as bad as it used to look, right? Dalby came out and looked has looked really good. The Jeremiah Wells round 2 TKO loss, I don't love that loss.
Yep.
The Ikram loss, I've been saying Ikram's a monster, so I don't, and I think we need to go back and look at that finish, because I think his chin kind of held up until it didn't. I think he actually took a lot of shots. Like I remember betting that fight to end in 60 seconds as like a sprinkle, and there was no chance. Like Alves hung in there a little bit, but Ikram was a monster, bro. And I don't think I would definitely take Ikram in a pick'em over Magomedov. Like to me, it wouldn't be even debatable. It's tough because I do think Magomedov on the feet is really dangerous and elite.
Yeah.
I just think he gasses, and it's so hard to get a read for this guy because Kaio is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Strickland was like an interesting fight because Strickland didn't really put any output out early. He just kind of waited for him and just played defense.
Yep.
And he's only and Abu's only had 3 fights in the UFC, so it is tough. It really is. I do think he may be overvalued as a favorite here. But if he wins, he's gonna win in round 1.
Yeah, I definitely think he has a vast majority of the round one equity here, which is why like maybe I do sprinkle round one KO as a hedge thing. Like that's my concern. But I saw what you saw, which was I thought Warley, given he was going into the Lions Den, Ikram didn't really seem to respect him at all. And he ate quite a bit of damage before ended up getting put out, I think in like the 4th minute there. Never good when I'm referencing, hey, he lasted until the 4th minute, and then I'm thinking about betting on a guy.
Right.
But um I
It was I think it was 2 or 3 minutes. The fight ended at 2:07.
yeah.
2:07.
The promotion has a lot of respect for Abus. I mean, they gave Sean Strickland a title shot after a main event against Abus one fight into his UFC career. Like they have a lot of respect there. Now, if you go back and I think he lost to Sadabu C in PFL. Like he was a good PFL fighter, but he wasn't like a world beater. Like I don't think there were sky high expectations for him coming into UFC. And all these is just kind of he's just kind of snake. I like him in this spot as a dog versus he was a favorite, lost to Nicholas Dalby. Like it was a close fight against Randy Brown, ended up getting dismantled. Like I prefer him in this spot as like a dangerous counted out type of underdog when he's got sneaky power. Like you talked about the guillotine choke. The submission's really weird when I think if Abus was gassed, I think Alves would go to his jujitsu as the potential finishing method. I don't think he'd empty the tank on his feet. I think he would pull a submission because he's shown that tendency in UFC. Almost a submission attempt per 15 minutes, point nine. So I kind of want to play. I haven't bet this fight. Like I said, I was waiting for props to come out, and I'm going to take a look at Warley Alves inside the distance for the first time here. Um, it's nice that we have all these props for such a bad card.
Yeah, plus
It's plus
330.
330 inside the distance. Yeah, like, and I don't think he's got the decision equity of these two. When Abus is going to have the reach, he'll probably bank the first round. And Worley's not great at winning on points as is, even when he was at welterweight. So I think I'll probably just sprinkle inside the distance for him as well. And see. I
Yeah.
just know I'm not. I knew from Sunday I'm not parlaying Abus. I just think so many things could go wrong at minus 300, bro.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah.
And Worley's fought, I mean, he's fought everyone, bro.
Yes.
Colby
He's
Covington,
he subbed
Kamaru
Colby
Usman,
Covington back in the
Randy
day, which
Brown. I mean, he's a lot of experience, you
yeah.
know.
Fighters to
Um,
beat Colby Covington in UFC: Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman, Warley Alves.
yeah, no, it doesn't make a ton of sense. Hmm. And he's
They
not
should
that
have.
old either. These guys that you would think
Yeah,
Magomedov's the much younger guy, but they're the same age.
yeah. Abus has fought a lot regionally. Like he had good regional experience. I think it's why the UFC went so hard on him early. But I don't think they know his true skill level. I feel like they threw him to the wolves with Sean and Kaio, and now Warley's probably his first appropriate test. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it
Yeah,
goes.
that's fair.
Let's move forward here. Back to women's MMA, my favorite. Who can Maddie's shaking his head as I have this preview. I don't know if we'll spend a lot of time on this one here. Melissa Gatto stepping in on short notice for Haley Cowan taking on Tamiris Vidal. I that was supposed to be a super low level fight. Melissa Gatto was looking for a scrap after hers with Victoria Dudakova was canceled back last month at Atlantic City. So Melissa steps in. She'll be at 135 for the first time in UFC. I have one word written down here and circled. It is size. Curious what you're thinking here, Maddie, with Gatto minus 390 on the money line.
Yeah, I think Gato can get a finish here. You know, I mean, I need to see what the double chance is. It's plus 115.
That's not
Um,
bad.
yeah, I agree. I mean, this chick, who's the she fought in her last fight in the split decision.
Montserrat Rendon.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think she's terrible,
Me
bro.
too. I agree with you.
I think that girl is terrible. And like for that to be a split decision, you know,
Yeah.
I don't think this girl, I don't think she's gonna make it to the, I don't think she's gonna make it to a decision here.
Yeah.
I could,
I feel like speed is going to be a huge disadvantage for her here. Gato was going tit for tat with Ariane Lipski or Ariane De Silva, whatever you want to say,
right.
in her last fight. And now all of a sudden she's stepping back to this ugly range of bantamweight with Montserrat Rendon. By the way, I don't care at all that Vidal got a knockout in her debut. It was her first as a pro, and it was against Ramona Pascual, who lost to Jocelyn Edwards, Josie Nunez. Why should I care at all about that when I feel like Gato's been fighting at 125. She's at a size disadvantage here, but it's a much better weight class. Like she's fought much better competition. The thing that I had circled here, unfortunately, came in super, super short. Gato by submission. 4 of her 6 wins regionally were by submission. Just because of circumstances, there was an arm break in her fight against Leonardo. She ended up just getting a body kick against Sajara Eubanks. She really hasn't had the opportunity to search for a submission. I think she's going to be the much better girl on the feet and on the ground here. So I was looking to maybe buy low on a sub, but it's plus 220, so it's actually kind of short. Um,
Wow.
I think I might rather play inside the distance at plus 115 instead, plus coin. I agree with you. I think Gato's better everywhere. Like I really looked closely this week because I bought into chalk favorites last week and I didn't ask myself enough questions. But ask yourself a question: where is Vidal going to be better than Gato, other than just being bigger?
Yeah, nowhere.
Yeah,
Yeah. The submission, yeah, it's fun because she doesn't have any submissions in the UFC, but she had 4 prior.
yeah,
And a lot of them are round ones.
yes. She submitted
Round
Carol
one and
Hossa on
round,
the regional scene.
yeah. I kind of like sub though, bro. I really do.
And this is a weird women's MMA fight where I would play early finish instead of late because I think the skill gap is going to be enormous. By the way, I expect Gato to be a little aggressive given this is a short camp matchup for her. Like this was short notice. Maybe doesn't want to drag it into deep waters here. Like I think I'd play early over late here.
Round one sub for Gato is plus 550. Round two plus 800. I might play both of those.
That's a
I
good
might
number.
play her inside the distance for like a unit, and then go a quarter unit round one sub, round two sub. I think that's what I'm gonna do.
I feel like women's MMA is the thing that's holding this betting line from being larger. Like, in my opinion, Gato should be a larger favorite than Adrian Yanez, who we'll see later, because I don't know where Vidal is better than her other than just being big, and that can only get you so far.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Melissa does for us. What could possibly go wrong buying into a women's MMA fighter inside the distance? But we'll move on to our featured prelim. Maddie and I flying through these prelims first because they're not really good, and secondly because I think the angles are pretty clear. Tom Nolan taking on Victor Martinez, a battle of lightweights that were knocked out cold in the first round in their last fight. What could possibly be better than that, right? I would guess that this fight's favored to end in round 1. I'll confirm that, Maddie, while I toss it over to you. But Tom Nolan, a pretty big favorite again, a little scary. Nolan was a big favorite in his debut and came up short. Is he worth the juice, or I guess maybe more of a prop this time around?
I mean, let me put it to you this way. I might put my life savings on Tom Nolan round one KO at plus 150. If my boy Jordan Levitt at plus 1700, right? If I can make a bag off of Jordan Levitt knocking out Victor Martinez at plus 1700, I mean, I won a shitload of money on that bet. I'll never
Yep.
forget that knockout. I have it up on my TV screen. It like flashes through all my long shot wins, and that's one of them.
Yep.
But I mean, Tom Nolan, bro, I think he's gonna destroy this dude on the feet early. Like I actually thought it would be kind of like the Spain, the
Mhm.
Rebellis to Spain number, more at like even money for a round one knockout. I'm actually
Yeah.
surprised it's plus 150. I actually think that's not a bad number. Like I
Yeah.
think Tom Nolan can come out and finish him in the first round on the feet is my prediction.
Yeah, when I was doing that Levitt Martinez fight, you and I were both on KO that day. My instant reaction was like, why did they sign this guy? He's bad. Like he's not any good.
Yeah.
And I guess his striking peripherals are okay. That's because of a long extent on Dana White's Contender Series against a guy that I don't necessarily know can hack it. At least Nolan loses by knockout to Nicholas Mota, right? A guy known for his power of striking. Martinez lost to a grappler via first round KO. So Nolan is a brawler. 10.27 significant strikes per minute. Dude has come in there winging in both fights. Did not go his way, but like you said, size advantages. I love that plus 150 number two. By the way, this fight is minus 105 to not start round 2, so it's almost even money whether it starts round 2 or not. I don't think that I don't think that I'd want exposure to this fight if it got into the second round because I don't know which of these guys would be winning and I don't know what it would look like. I'm
Yeah.
with you. It feels so chalky and like I'll wager responsibly as a result when it comes to the sample size here. But Nolan is the guy that they wanted to prop up. He's 24, younger, like kind of an Aussie from the same regional scene of not kind of an Aussie, he's from Australia, but from the same regional scene as Jack Della Maddalena. I feel like he's the significantly better prospect. Martinez is more of a regional guy to me.
Yeah, I mean Tom Nolan has 3 round 1 knockouts
Mm.
prior to the or one was actually the contender series, and then 2 was prior to the UFC, and then his only other knockout was a round 2, and that was against a guy who is now 7-1.
Yeah.
That was at Eternal MMA. So I don't know, bro. I just think he's gonna be able to get him out of there in the first round. I think plus 150 is a really good price on that, honestly.
Yeah. He's minus 175 to win by knockout in general. Interesting. The second most likely outcome, Nolan by points plus 550. So, um, man, I think you're making a lot of assumptions to go. Martinez goes from getting chinned by Jordan Levitt. Now, it was a flying knee, so it's a little bit more random there. But
Yeah,
I we got to comment like Nolan is more of a Sean Woodson, Trey Waters. When I watch him, I feel like he's got more power than those guys. This is a big, strong dude for this weight class. I almost see him a little bit more. This is lofty praise for a guy that just got KO cold. He looks to me more like a Jalen Turner type of archetype where he doesn't sacrifice being skinny for having plenty of power in this weight class. That's my opinion, at least. But I
yeah.
guess only time will tell. So, yeah, let's move on here. I don't know. I actually don't know the bout order where this one got slotted in. It was just officially announced last night. I've been on vacation all day today, so I haven't checked in quite yet. But it'll be on some point on Saturday. They found Umar C a new opponent. He's taking on Tukotas, which was a name that I had been practicing off air just to make sure that I didn't mess up the alliteration. I'm curious what Maddie's taking a picture of right now. But
I'm sending. So Tuco is my boy Pat Downey's friend,
oh
and
yeah,
Pat Downey DM'd me the other day and said bet the farm on Tuco. So
oh my
I'm sending
god,
it to him because I didn't even know his betting odds at the time.
oh, and he's plus
Um,
200.
yeah, he said that dude's a savage. It's a short notice fight for him.
Yeah, it is a short notice fight for both of these guys, which adds to the vulnerability. Umar was minus 265 when we pulled the slides. He's all the way up to minus 520, and I did expect a pretty lengthy betting number here. So Tuco, a huge underdog on short notice. We've seen those upsets pulled before. Think back to Chris Padilla against James Lontop a couple weeks ago, right? Am interested to hear. Do you know anything about Tuco other than he trains with Pat Downey? Because you have anything on this fight? Because it's not really in my wheelhouse with minimal data either.
He's a Kill Cliff guy, right?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Yeah, that's about that's about to the extent I know about him, bro. I mean, I've been told he's a savage though. That's literally all I know about him. I have never seen him train. I've never watched footage on him. Um, but you look at these numbers and you're like, damn, only plus 200 here. Second fight in the UFC, short notice. Like, I mean, I guess this is his debut technically, right?
Yeah, he. I just want you to know he currently sits plus 350. Like the money is.
Oh shit! It
Yeah,
went way up.
yeah, it did, and I'll
Oh
tell you
shit!
why. I'll tell you
Yeah, go
why here
ahead.
in 1 minute. So, like, I don't think Tuco is horrible. He had an 0-2 stint in Bellator, which doesn't age particularly well. And then on
Mm-hmm.
road to UFC, he takes it. You remember Zhang Ying from? He was facing. Gosh, who was the gentleman on? It was at a pay per view. Was it UFC? I want to say 298. Um,
Mm-mm.
who was the huge Brazilian guy that he was taking on that night that flipped to a favorite? Gosh, I can't remember
I
now.
can't remember.
Um, I'll pull it up right. Brenson Ribeiro. Do you remember Brenson Ribeiro taking
Okay.
on? And then that was like that slugfest that lasted maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Tokos ended up getting knocked out by Ming Yang on the road to UFC. So he has a little bit of data. I think that Umar C though is a guy that they've had on their radar for a while, undefeated. And you look at this guy's background and you say, hey, he's one of these French guys, may not be able to grapple. Nasty ground and pound, super technical striking, massive for 205, 6'5", 84-inch reach. Like this guy, from a frame perspective, is probably the closest comp you could get would be John Jones with additional muscle mass. Like I have no idea how he makes 205. This is a guy that they've had on their radar for a while, and they brought in Mackenzie Dern's husband before Tricoli ends up pulling out of this fight. Toko Sin, like I would be stunned if C did not close. I tweeted out. I said I think he'll close minus 800. He's already up to minus 520. Like it's nothing to do with Tuco. I think Tuco could potentially win another UFC matchup that he gets made up with. I just think Umar he's too well rounded. Like I don't know where Tuco would be better when really great ground and pound, good top position, good takedowns, and then a really great striker. Like I I think the in chat we got Walter Walker. You know, Walker had endurance issues. Haven't seen those from C. Um, this guy's mowed through everybody that he's faced, even though it's regional competition. Like I don't know enough to give strong betting advice here, but I do think he's a very highly regarded prospect that I would not fade in his debut.
Yeah, and none of the props are out since this fight just got put together.
And don't parlay him either. That's just like a general best practice of like we see where this goes. We had good data on James Yontop and it went wrong. Like it's light heavyweight, highest finishing rate in UFC. Who knows? Maybe Tuco does stun him with a knockout in his debut, right? And there are levels to this game. But like I think kind of maybe the angle I'll look at is if C inside the juice distance is juice to the gills, I might look at a decision angle because Tuco is tough, went to a decision, one of the two Bellator guys, and Zhang Mingyang to me is a wrecking ball. That dude has insane power. I don't think getting knocked out by him means you have a bad chin.
Yeah,
So
no, that's fair.
I'm not betting the farm on Tuco though. Much love to PD3.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna have to fade
we'll yeah,
PD3.
we'll move forward here. Back up onto the main card here. So really good 5 fights. I think for an Apex card, like there was data on 3 of them for me to model. The other 2 very interesting as well. This is the first one up at women's strawweight. Luana Pinheiro taking on Angela Hill here. Heard very smart people on both sides of this fight, but I made a play right on Sunday. Thankfully, haven't gotten really a ton of closing line value because if I get that, it's already dead. But this line stayed about right where it is. Angie Hill hovering about a minus 150 favorite. Maddie, curious what you think as these ladies go at it here inside the rankings.
You're on Angela Hill, aren't you?
I'm not.
Oh shit!
I bet
I s-
Pinheiro 2 units plus 125 and I was able to model this guy. I think it's a good spot for Luana. I'm maybe this is my Amanda Hebos bias creeping in, but
mhm.
I think Luana in her prime, 30 years old, and Angela Hill struggles with girls that have a lot of physicality. Pinheiro has great judo throws, very aggressive striker. I don't think Hill's got like durability issues per se, but just that physicality makes her uncomfortable. I've got this fight 73.3% likely to go the distance, but based on age, similar level of competition, grappling upside, I've got Pinheiro at minus 145 here, so I had to fire when I got her at plus 120.
Yeah. And how do you think she wins?
Probably by points, given the
Yeah.
hefty decision. I've got points 37. Luana by points, the most likely outcome of the fight, 37%. So I'll
Wow.
crunch some numbers. What were you thinking before you heard? I don't
Plus
want
plus 210 on that.
that's a good number.
Yeah. No, I like the angle. I think she's got good heavy hands, 62% strike and defense.
Hmm.
And Angel Hill's never been finished or never
Yeah.
been knocked out, right? So I think that angle makes sense there. She can just land some of the bigger, more powerful shots and have good strike and defense in the fight.
Hmm.
I think it makes sense at plus 210 there.
I think a little bit of the bias here is in Angela Hill's last fight. She was an underdog against Denise Gomes and like just had an experience advantage. She actually landed 5 takedowns in that fight. I feel like Pinheiro has already proven a lot more than Gomes in terms of wrestling upside, in terms of like she went to a decision with Michelle Watterson. That was a Miami card. I don't know if you were there for that fight. But like she's already proven that. And she honestly won round 1 against Amanda Hebos, ended up having endurance issues. But Hebos to me pushes a more varying pace, as in she's mixing in wrestling, grappling, whereas Angie, more of a kickboxer. Here I am again fading a fighter at 39 in the post USADA world. So what could possibly go wrong? But like, I think Pinheiro can land the harder shots, like you said, physicality. Like Angel Hill got ragdolled by Tisha Torres. So when you talk about physicality, I think Pinheiro definitely has that. So like I like her points angle here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I might tail this one.
Nice.
Um, I think plus 210 is a good number on a
It is.
decision.
I mean, like, what would the other method be? Angela Hill historically durable. Like, when was Angie's
Yeah,
inside the distance loss? I can't even remember it.
yeah,
Like, you think she's gonna sub her because Verna Jandiroba didn't? You think she's gonna knock her out because Amanda Lemos didn't? It's like, how can you expect Luana to finish her other than maybe age finally caught up to her?
yeah. I like it.
So we'll move on here to the next fight. I guess not a lot to go with down on that one. Here is the largest favorite on the card, or at least he was before. I'm totally wrong there. Tom Nolan and Umar Sy have now way surpassed Adrian Yanez, but
Yeah.
still a pretty hefty favorite here. Taking on flyweight alum Vinicius Salvador, missed weight in his last fight, so UFC said, "Hey, you got to bump it up to 135." This is a tough fight here. I think Yanez is a good fighter. He's run into Jonathan Martinez and Rob Font in his last couple of fights. Curious what you're thinking here, especially with Yanez coming at such a hefty price.
Yeah, it is expensive as hell, I'll be honest. I want to see like the old Adrian Yanez back. Like the Tony Kelly fight was just sick.
Savage.
Like fucking just huge knockout, middle finger flicks him off. Like that dude's hands are for real.
Yep.
But like the problem is when you fight, Rob Font, when you fight Martinez, who's gonna kick your legs off.
Yep.
Like I feel like those are just tough matchups for him. But like, how do you feel about because Adrian Yanez is, I mean, outside of the Tony Kelly fight, he's a guy that like kind of collects data. He's not looking to put your lights out in the first round.
Yeah.
So I think this is a fight that I almost want to auto bet like around 2-3 KO for him here.
Yeah.
In like a little bit more favorable of a matchup. Like the UFC wants him to get back to what he can do.
Yep.
Like Randy Costa, round 2 KO. He took a big beating in round 1 against Randy Costa, but then puts his lights out in round 2.
Yep.
The Davy Grant fight went the distance. But I just think, and then the Gustavo Lopez, round 3 KO.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like Yanez could have success like in round 2, 3 here. Maybe it's a close round 1. Maybe he could land something big in the second or third, and get a TKO. Is kind of what I'm looking at here.
Yeah, I like that angle a lot too. I prefer more of a length. I had the same thing on here, is that he's willing to concede early minutes to get his reads. Maybe apropos to a guy like Dustin Poirier, kind of how he'll download data for a bit and be willing to get hit. The biggest thing is that I think Vinicius Salvador is bad. So that made this fight really easy for me. If I was getting a guy where I had Jonathan Martinez against Yanez, I had Rob Font against Yanez, where I think Salvador coming up from flyweight, not really a lot, considering who he's fought. He fought CJ Vergara. He fought Victor Altamirano. These guys are not killers even in that division, and now he's taking on a guy that was just ranked at 135. And Salvador, 42% striking accuracy, mediocre, 49% defense. I think he loops a lot of stuff. Negative 0.61 striking success rate overall, and not really much grappling upside. So now, is he going to be the guy to dent Yanez? Really strong takedown defense is actually perfect so far. I don't think so. And then you look at length here. Yanez, much more accomplished hands. Like, I lean round 2 or 3 knockout. I don't think you have to worry about a sub with Adrian. That's kind of why it's a little shorter, or a decision prop. Now, decision coming back at plus 290. I'd rather take darts at the 500 and the plus 850 for knockout, when I really think he's going to be levels above Vinicius as far on the feet, dude. Like, this is not even, this would not even be the strongest striker that Adrian knocked out, right? I mean, you could make that argument Randy Costa was a little bit better.
I always liked Randy Costa, man. I hated when the UFC dropped him. Like, it was just, he had that weird matchup against, I was a Gutierrez or someone who subbed him.
And then, Guido Canetti, yeah.
Guido Canetti, that's right. And then the Yanez fight, he had a lot of success in round 1. Like, he was whooping his ass, dude.
Yeah.
And then Costa had that big win outside recently, like a couple months ago. Did you see that fight? He had a big KO win. I don't know if it was, I think it was Jorge Masvidal's promotion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he made it.
Go watch that. It's a sick fight, dude. It
was bare knuckle. Bare knuckle. He was
fighting
it was Jason Knight.
It's bare knuckle MMA though, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it was sick, bro. I always liked Randy
Costa. Me too.
Randy Costa, thank you. I always liked him. He's a South Florida guy.
You ready for this pick 'em? I'm taking Randy Costa over Vinicius Salvador.
I would too.
Okay.
100%.
We're on the same page here. And we saw what Yanez did there.
Yeah, I think here I'll go a full unit on Yanez by KO. It's minus 110.
Yeah.
It's kind of like no, it's not that expensive, but yeah, minus 110.
Yeah.
And then I think I would sprinkle the 2-3 here. Maybe even the round 2. I think round 2 is kind of the best time for Yanez to just get him out.
Yeah.
But like I would hate to not bet the KO and then, Yanez just landed a big counter shot in round 1.
Yeah.
So I think I'll play the KO prop here, and then I'll sprinkle on a 2-3 maybe.
Again, I'm treading carefully around chalk this week after what happened last week. It always reminds you not to make assumptions. Yanez, I don't think this is a buy high spot for him. I think a lot of people are lower on him, thinking he got fraud checked a little bit inside the rankings. I would be wary against other bantamweights. Vinicius Salvador is not one of them. And it has nothing to do with Salvador's durability or his pace or his output. It's his efficiency isn't very good. Against guys like Altamirano and CJ Vergara, well, Yanez is significantly more powerful than those guys if he makes mistakes.
Right.
So
I'm with you, bro.
It's good. It's good. We're having a vibe of a show today where we're kind of on the same page.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Maddie and I don't talk about these fights beforehand, so we're not like pre-cooking this up. You get our raw, authentic opinions here. We'll see if we can keep it going. Third to last fight on the card here. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's boy, Themba Gorimbo, is back, taking on Ramiz Brahimaj at welterweight. Both of these guys, I mean, like, I have heard strong cases for and against. I think it's because we don't have a lot of data or sample on either of them. So it's kind of tough to know who they are, what they're about. I made a stance on this fight again in a parlay earlier on the Home of Fight Discord, but I'm kind of intrigued by how this line has moved back and forth all week. Right now, Gorimbo sits at minus 148. So what are you thinking? Thinking in this fight, maybe some props we should look at as well.
I don't know what to do with this dude, bro. I really don't. Like, I don't know what to believe. Like, there's always a story, right? Like the story with The Rock, and then I don't know if you saw recently, like, one of his coaches, is it mom or dad, passed away or something.
Yes.
And now he's like winning this fight for that. And like, I'm not saying it's all bullshit, but like, you know how these narratives are, right? Like, I just never know what to believe.
Yep.
But I think this is a somewhat favorable of a matchup for him.
Yeah.
Like, they're not really feeding him killers yet, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I want to say he's an okay favorite here at minus 148.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would lean as far as a method here, though. Him to win by decision is plus 270, knockouts plus 310, and submissions plus 650.
Well, so let me check those. So submission, I think submission being the longest angle is more than fair. Brahimaj, probably the better grappler, so that's probably the least likely one. Wow, KO TKO plus 310 is interesting to me.
I agree. It's a solid number.
Yeah, because especially I think Gorimbo's takedown defense will be paramount here, because if he wants to dictate where this fight takes place, if it's at distance, he's going to win it. He's got 4 inches of reach. I think he's a significantly better striker. Go back and watch. I ashamed bet on Pete Rodriguez against Themba Gorimbo. I felt
retarded after that fight. It was so stupid.
That was just a chin thing. Whereas, like, I feel like Rodriguez's skill set in his hands, when you watch how he fought Madalena, he's not a terrible striker. He just has durability issues, right? And Themba really was the better. Like, he was winning the foot placement battle. Like, Themba was doing pretty well there, and he's a hard worker. I feel like he's improving. And basically, what I want to ask anyone who took plus 110 with Ramiz Brahimaj here, why on earth is this fight above Yanez, above Angie Hill and Pinheiro? It's because this is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's guy. Gorimbo's kind of a cult hero at this point. Nobody cares about Ramiz Brahimaj. I'm sorry, Ramiz. I don't think that they're sending Gorimbo to pasture in this particular matchup, where the line moved against him a lot. Like, he was minus 215 when this opened, closer to Sunday. Then it got all the way down to like minus 130, and now it's starting to trend back the other direction. Like, I think Brahimaj is total submission off his back or bust here. And Gorimbo was submitted by AJ Fletcher via guillotine choke, which is, maybe you only make that mistake once, or maybe you don't. It's few UFC fighters have multiple, but I feel like Brahimaj is total submission off his back or bust here. He kind of quits in fights. His cardio isn't very good. The striking numbers are awful, negative 1.61 striking success rate. So I think if Themba wants to keep this a distance, he'll knock him out. So I really like plus 310.
Yeah. I mean, his only KO loss was round 3 against Max Griffin.
Yeah.
Which that was an ear injury.
Oh, yeah, when his ear fell off, that was kind of disgusting.
I kind of feel like this guy hangs in there,
Yeah.
Decision, unanimous loss against Court McGee. The only KO was just an injury in the 3rd round.
37-year-old Court McGee dropped him, though. Can I make that argument too?
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah,
And
that's
I just
totally
don't
fair.
value his UFC wins at all. Sasha Palatnikov can't grapple. He was submitted by
Yeah.
Impa Kazanganai as well. And then Michael Gilmore had a cup of coffee in UFC. He was awful. Like he was a washout, complete washout, both at 185 and 170. So
Yeah.
like I like Garimbo's money line. Hopefully I can get it down south of minus 135. I might straight bet it in addition to my parlay. I parlayed Yanez, Garimbo, and Piero Rodriguez on Sunday, and I actually feel good we get back on track with that this week.
You think the number's gonna go down?
I hope so. I mean, it's been kind of oscillating where this got down as low as minus 130 at one point, and now it's back to minus 148. I unfortunately was waiting. I'm like, maybe I'll get it minus 125. Maybe
I
I'll
mean,
get.
why not go? You go double chance KO or decision, and you get even money. I like that.
Oh, that is nice. Yeah, I don't
I
think he's
might
subbing Brian.
100% take that. I don't see
Yeah,
him subbing him.
yeah. I think you're right, Maddie. I think that's the play in lieu of.
I like that a lot. Even
Yeah,
money on that.
that's good stuff. That's
I'm
good
in
stuff.
on
See,
that.
that's why we do this show is because we look at these props, we figure it out together. So I will
Yeah.
definitely have a unit of that on
I
my
can't
card.
wait to hear your opinion on this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, so some people got it in the Discord already. I had this guy modeled. I think it's a good co-main event by Apex standards because there's at least some intrigue to it. These guys are a little bit mystery men. Chaos Williams taking on Carlston Harris back at welterweight again. Chaos 5-2 in UFC, so we've seen him a bunch. He's had a lot of wins in the promotion. Carlston Harris came out of nowhere with that nasty anaconda choke, put Jeremiah Wells to sleep in his last fight, kind
Yes,
of out of
sir. I
nowhere.
had the sub prop on that, baby, and I thought I was dead in the water.
Crazy, dude. Crazy submission in
Thought
that
I was
fight.
dead in the water.
Yeah, this line's actually shortened a little bit. Carlston now just plus 106. Chaos Williams minus 136. So close fight. I'll give you my angle, but I want to hear what you're thinking as well.
Yeah, so you posted this fight in the Discord
I
already?
did. I did.
I
I have
haven't I
two
haven't
units.
seen it, but I will say one thing here. I can't go against my guy Carlston Harris, bro.
Well,
Chaos
you don't have
Williams,
to, dude.
Chaos Williams is a fucking realtor, bro. He's a real estate agent. So, if you look at these two guys' Instagrams, go look right now. Chaos is fucking selling houses. Carlston Harris is in the gym, bro.
Yeah.
And to me, the fight is as simple as that. Like Carlson's got to, he's got to obviously he's got to defend the power. Like but I just think he's gonna be the slicker guy. I think
Yep.
he's the slicker fighter here.
Yep.
He's experienced. I mean, bro, his only loss was fucking Shavkat in the
Yep.
UFC.
Yeah.
He's won unanimous decisions, anaconda, knockout, anaconda. Like I think he's good. I like Carlston Harris. I think he's a good underdog here.
Yeah.
I would have him favored in this fight. I think the odds are flip flopped here.
Yeah, Maddie, you don't have to go against me. I'm on the same page. I got 2 units on
Let's
Carlston Harris
fucking
down
go.
at plus 120. My model's got Harris at minus 130 here. That's on the basis of level of competition. Now, it's interesting we got a comment that he's too willing to let opponents dictate the pace. That's what my model sees too, just 2.93 significant strikes per minute. Not a
Yeah.
super high output guy, but when you look at the efficiency, 10 percentage points higher striking accuracy than Chaos. 11 percentage points higher striking defense, a couple takedowns per 15 minutes. So he's got the grappling upside of these two that we've seen. And something interesting I was going to try to talk to you tonight. Maybe we run Carlston Harris by submission back because Chaos Williams hasn't been on his back in UFC. It's an interesting note that you cannot find footage of Chaos on his back. Now, part of that is Chaos has an 80% takedown defense. He's very good at keeping it there, but Carlston Harris can grab a body lock. He's more of a chain wrestler. Like he doesn't have to grab a double leg and then take him down to the ground. I think he can get some scrambles, maybe even gets knocked down and is able to reverse his position on top. Like there are a lot of different ways you can get to the ground. Even if Chaos's takedown defense is good. So yeah, I've got Harris the slight favorite here. He's a slight underdog. We got a comment. Why not bet inside the distance? I got Harris by decision, 26.1%, the most likely outcome in the fight. Let's see what the individual props are, and I'll start crunching money on what angle.
Yeah, Harris by decision plus 350.
Okay.
Submission plus 460. KO plus 650. I would look at double chance
Sub decision.
Sub decision here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
so I've
plus
got
190 or no. It is plus 155. It's the most likely double chance out of the three.
So I've got decision at plus 285, so showing value there. And then I've got submission at plus 490. So not quite showing submission there. So maybe a lean toward a points angle per se.
Yeah.
Like I just the thing is Chaos Williams, his last fight, I parlayed him like a moron. Rolando Bedoya won that fight against Chaos Williams, bro. Like that was I was
I
sweating.
remember because
Yeah,
I was pissed about it, and
yeah.
then Rolando goes out his next fight and loses
To
to
Song
Song Kanon. You know, and bro, I just don't think Chaos Williams is fully bought into the UFC, bro. Like,
yeah,
you just can't be a real estate agent and a UFC fighter. I mean, you can, but do you really have aspirations if you're doing that?
yeah.
Like,
That's
being
an
a realtor is a lot of fucking work, dude.
yes.
You gotta show houses. You gotta hit the phones. You gotta, there's a lot of shit you gotta do as an agent, and like,
Yeah.
I just don't think his motivation is there. The Randy Brown was a split decision that could have went either way, and he lost that fight. I think his last two fights arguably could have went either way. Both split decisions. I mean, maybe you look at a split decision prop here.
Yeah.
um,
I mean, intriguingly enough, bro, you could have argued that he dropped the first round against Miguel Baeza. Second round was close, and then he found the third round knockout. Otherwise, that one was trending toward a split decision type of environment.
yeah.
He's been a sell for me for a while, just because I look at the striking efficiency. It just hasn't quite been there. Like, and by the way, he makes his reputation as this knockout artist. He had a couple within 30 seconds in his first two fights, and we really haven't seen it a whole lot since. So, like, I think Carlston Harris has a pretty good chin. Like, he did survive 15 minutes with Jared Gooden. Now Shavkat put him out, but Shavkat's a monster. So,
That was a kick. That was a kick too.
yeah. I mean,
Are we
Shavkat
really going to see a kick like that from Chaos, like
not really.
compared to Shavkat?
Yeah, more of a boxer for sure.
Right.
Like you look at his fight against Bedoya. Well, I guess he did land 33 leg kicks, so got those low kicks working. But like
Yeah.
Harris, I guess he doesn't have a reach advantage here. I visualize that he's a longer guy here, but I guess not.
Yeah. No, for
Yeah.
sure.
Question: We got a question in chat. If Harris gets 0 takedowns in this fight, do you think he still wins? The answer, I guess, would be no, because I've got Chaos 67.9% likely to have the distance striking advantage. But I also think it's a big if whether or not Carlston has grappling time or takes that sort of approach when he's had that over just about everybody. Like, it is a good question, but like, Carlston had success at distance against Impa Kasanganay. I like Impa, the PFL 205-pound champion.
Yeah.
I don't think it's unheard of that Harris wins this fight at distance, but yeah, he definitely does probably need to integrate his grappling. But the thing is, we know Chaos won't, or at least he hasn't shown any tendency to do so thus far. Shout out Waldo Cortez Acosta.
It's kind of crazy because like Jeremiah Wells and Chaos are kind of in a way a little similar, like frame and everything, and they're like,
Yeah.
But
Jeremiah's a much better grappler, though.
I was gonna say he's more explosive and better grappler, and I think Chaos has like the better pure like knockout power or better boxing at least.
Yeah, I think we've got questions about Harris's takedown defense. Like, he spent a lot of bottom time against Wells there, but the fact Williams doesn't offer that is one of the reasons why I think he can keep it rolling.
Yeah.
So
tough fight though, definitely a tough fight.
Yeah, I don't think we should bail on Carlston there. I really don't. I've been looking to sell Chaos for a while, so maybe that is indeed the spot. So main event time here. We'll break it down. Lerone the Miracle Murphy taking on Edson Barboza, who you and I both sent to pasture. He ended up getting past Sadiq Yusuf by decision in his last fight. Murphy coming off an impressive decision against Josh Culeabau, but a step up here to Junior Barboza. Lerone minus 150, so a decently competitive main event here. Interested in your thoughts about how this fight might look.
Honestly, I don't really know which way I'm going to go here, but what I will say is I just think Barbosa's win over Sadiq Yusuf is extremely overvalued.
Agreed.
Like, I think Yusuf kind of hurt himself in that fight. He should have got Barbosa out of there early.
Yep.
And then he kind of faded.
Yep.
I just don't think Barbosa's really that guy anymore, like that he used to be.
Sure.
So that's what I'll say here. Now, I hate betting against these fucking guys that are small underdogs and veterans. I always lose doing it, like I just did against Jose Aldo. It feels like the same situation here. It's like a similar line, similar type of style and
Yeah.
fight. So that's the part I struggle with. Um, but I kind of feel like Leroy Murphy by decision might be the move here.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that. This is Murphy's first 5 rounder, which I think is a dynamic to monitor. I couldn't agree with you more in that I feel like Yusuf going for the finish in the first round, if he had just simply kept his gas in the tank, he might have been able to win a decision against Edson. He may have been able to find a finish later. Like he was in dominant control of that fight in the
Yeah.
first round. And how is Edson's flying knee win over Billy Quarantillo aged? Not particularly well. We've always known
And
Billy.
and Yusuf goes and gets starched against
Yeah,
what's
Diego
his name in the
Lopez.
first round? Diego
Yeah, Diego
Lopez in the first
Lopez.
round.
So,
So
like,
everything is aged against Barbosa, in my opinion.
yeah, including his own physical age here, and like, I forget who I was talking to earlier this week. I think I was talking to I was talking to a gentleman who works for MMAfighting.com, and he was like, I kind of like Barboza. Barboza is definitely the public side here. If you look at some of the money splits, like people are backing Barboza as a short dog. Lerone Murphy, when I look at him analytically, he reminds me exactly of his countryman, Leon Edwards, where I look and he's kind of a low volume guy, pretty efficient, like plus 1.25 striking success rate. I have some concerns about the takedown defense that I don't really have to worry about in this particular setup, but Murphy showed off more of a well-rounded skill set. Josh Culeaba had an excellent takedown defense going into that fight. Murphy dominated it as a wet blanket throughout. We saw Barboza have trouble defending takedowns against Bryce Mitchell, and you say, well, that's Bryce Mitchell. We saw him
Yeah.
get knocked out by Giga Chikadze. You say, well, that's Giga Chikadze. I feel like Lerone Murphy is at least 85th percentile of whatever those two represent there. And he's going to be a problem for Edson in some of these domains. Age working on his side. I've got Murphy modeled exactly at minus 140, so I'm not showing value against this money line. Um, I'm guessing knockout is probably where I'm going to show the most value because I've got it at 23%. And now if I look at knockout here, it is plus 350.
You know what's funny
Yeah.
to me, bro, is if you go back and look at Barbosa's last 4 fights, like I can't get out of my head the fact that Bryce Mitchell landed that massive knockdown against him. I can't get out of my he loses by KO to Giga. Like I just don't think he's the same guy. The Billy Q was like it was a really close fight, and then he just got that he landed that
Yeah.
knee. And then the Sadiq Yusuf to me has a big asterisk on it.
Yeah.
So like he could arguably be 1-3 in his last four, or maybe even 0-4 if he doesn't find that knee against Billy Q. Like
Yeah.
I just think that he's really overvalued in general. But again,
Yeah.
I just feel like I always get burnt betting against guys in this type of spot.
Yeah. This is a tough one. This is not my favorite betting main event of the year where like I have a definitive side. I think a guy is undervalued. Lerone sketches me out a little bit. Like we got a comment, what is Murphy's path to victory? It's kind of hard to decipher, right? Like when Murphy has changed his style so dramatically, it wasn't that long ago where he arguably lost to Gabriel Santos, the guy, the shooter box kid who doesn't have a win in UFC yet. He was getting controlled 5 takedowns by Makwan Amirkhani, then came out with a flying knee against Amirkhani. So Murphy's a guy that I'm a little sketched out about as well, but I also agree with you. I think Barboza in some capacity is overvalued because of his recent results. So where do I draw the line? It's probably against the public, but I don't really want to lay minus 150. Like I'm showing a smidge of value on Murphy KO plus 350.
Yeah.
Maddie, if you wanted to go down the middle, like 2, 3, 4 KO, you could get 17 to 1, 21 to 1, 27 to 1. So like the numbers are pretty good when it's a little tough to decide. Like Edson hasn't shown submission vulnerability. Does Murphy have the cardio to last 25 minutes? I sit here. I have not bet this fight yet. I still don't know how I'm going to bet this fight, and I
I
probably
don't have
won't.
a clue. I
Yeah,
was gonna say, what are your thoughts on the over under here? Because over 3.5 is minus 160. Under
I,
three and
I
a half is plus
I'm right
125.
about in the same spot. Wait, because I can only compare apples to apples on goes the distance. This fight is what is it to go the distance? It's minus 106 to go the distance. I've got it at 51.8%. So it's about a coin flip. I've got it about a coin flip. So I don't have a good read there either.
Yeah. I hate this main event. Truthfully, I have no idea what to do with it. I'm not excited to watch it as either. It's a shit main event, honestly.
Kind of feels like Murphy by boringness. It's like
Yeah,
that's kind of how it feels. When Barbosa fought Dan Ige, didn't
they should
Ige
have threw
take him down?
fucking Diego Lopez in here instead of Murphy.
I'll tell you
They
what,
took
Diego
him.
Lopez is walking through either of these dudes. So
I
like,
agree, but I'll at least be excited.
yeah, they could have done. I feel like this feels to me like UFC's angle here is give Murphy a number against Barboza, but um, really weird. Maybe if he gets a quick finish, they might turn him around for Manchester. Who knows? But I don't really know. Did we have a main event canceled here? Because this is just such a random main event.
It really is. I
like
hate this fight, bro.
is Murphy in the title picture with a win? Because I have so many questions. I have so many
I mean,
questions.
the co-main. I'm excited about this fight
Yeah.
and this fight.
Like, I think Yanez is always good TV. I think Pinheiro Hill
Yeah.
should be pretty close, but like Murphy Barboza is kind of a rough one. But
Yeah.
we'll digress. Maddie and I may not end up pulling a parlay from there just because we don't really have anything, and we'll see.
Not
where
from the
we
main event, but yeah, let's
Yeah.
build something for sure.
let's so we'll build a safe parlay as well as a combo prop parlay where we
By
get
the way, I got to hear your insight because the betting odds are out on FanDuel for the June 1st card.
yeah.
Grant Dawson's minus 280 against Joe Selecki. I think the number's gonna go up like crazy.
Like as far as like you think,
Like it's gonna get more expensive. I think.
I like Selecki at plus 210 there. I'd bet
Ooh.
Selecki at plus 210.
Yeah, and
Selecki
then dude, there's some really good fights on that card that are like so slept on.
Yeah.
Cesar Almeida, Roman Kopylov. That's a fucking hell of a kickboxing match.
Yes, it is.
Strickland Costa. Who the hell knows that fight's happening?
Yeah.
Almeida, Romanov. I'm excited for this card, bro.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty deep card. That's kind of slept on.
We already have props for Makhachev Poirier. Poirier submission 20-1. If you guys think the Gilly
I'm taking it, bro.
Stop
I'm
it.
fucking taking it. I'm taking it. I have to sprinkle, bro. 0.1 units. I'm doing it for the culture.
For the culture, because then you could say you hit it if you had it. But if we focus back to this terrible card, what do we cook up? Like
let's go Yanez KO. Are you in on that?
What's the number?
Minus 110.
Okay. I'm down. I'm down.
Yanez KO. Tom Nolan round 1 KO.
Why don't we just
KO?
Because
why
this
don't
is
we
the
just do a
safe
KO parlay?
Yeah. Because this is the safe one. Let's just do KO. It's minus 175.
Oh, by the way, in the comments, any PFL plays, I gave out Patchy Mix 3-4 days ago at minus 265. I think he's up to like 350. I don't know what the number is now. And then today, FanDuel just dropped the inside the distance number. I played it at minus 120. And honestly,
that's good.
I think, I don't know how Austin feels about the number, but to me, this isn't even a play on the number. This is just an intuition play. Like, I believe I've met Patchy Mix. Dude is so fucking serious about his craft. And he wants to, he's such a chip on his shoulder with the whole bantamweight discussion across MMA. And like, I loaded on him, bro. I got over 5 units to win 2 units on his money line. And then I have 1.2 to win 1 on his inside the distance. I think I'm sweeping both of those. I really do.
Yeah. I parlayed Patchy with Aspen Ladd, so plus 120 if you tied those two together when I did. I know it might be a little shorter now, but they threw Ladd some can from Ukraine. I felt
I just would be shocked if Patchy, I'd be like devastated shocked if he lost. I would be really shocked because the way I see it, bro, is he's just so dangerous everywhere at this point.
Yep.
Like if he gets the fight to the ground, he's gonna find a sub.
Yeah.
Right. And even if it stays on the feet, he's got knees, he's got elbows, he's got good boxing. Yep. He's just as well rounded as it gets in MMA.
He's a top 10 UFC bantamweight without any question. Without any question.
10,
so like
bro, top 10.
well, no, I mean, okay, so it's kind of hard to compare apples to apples when the competition level is so bad in PFL compared to UFC. But like that is high praise, and that's why I'm saying if you get a top 10 UFC bantamweight minus 120 to finish anybody on Bellator's roster, it's probably a good bet. just because the skill discrepancy is going to be so high. We'll get to
I think
McGregor.
he would be a nightmare matchup for Sean O'Malley, like an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, really so, because he seems to have fewer durability concerns, more knockout power than per se like an Aljamain Sterling, but equally dangerous on the ground. I think Patchy and Sean would be a very competitive
Yeah,
fight.
I think the Umar fight would be a tough fight for
Yeah,
him. And I think the Marab fight, which they're training partners at times.
yeah.
So I
We'll,
don't
we'll
know.
see. We'll see if Umar gets through Sandhagen. I've got my questions about Umar a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, like
I
he
think
got
I'm just
dropped.
gonna bet that fight to go the distance. I think is my play there.
Umar and Sandhagen. That's probably a good.
Yeah,
Oh, by the way, I do have something here. I love Usyk this week in
I
boxing.
like Usyk too, but man,
Okay, cool.
I've been historically so bad at boxing that I'm like getting discouraged, bro. I had
Yeah,
fucking Francis against Joshua.
yeah,
I had what was one of the big fights previously?
yeah.
Um, I had France or no, I didn't. I had Francis against Joshua when he got starched.
Yep,
I had the over of 6, I think whatever the over of that fight was. So I got
yep,
cleaned out, right? Like I've never seen Francis put out before,
yep.
so like I figured the over made sense. Lost both those bets. I forget what the boxing match before I had was. I don't know, but I can't do boxing anymore, bro. Oh,
Okay.
the fucking Ryan Garcia fight, dude.
Oh yeah, where Haney looked like he hadn't trained.
Yeah, I had
Yeah,
Haney
yeah.
by KO,
Me
which
too.
I knew going into it, he's not a knockout guy, but like I was just betting against. I was fading Ryan Garcia more than
Yeah,
anything, and then the dude's 3
yeah,
pounds overweight, roided up, like So who the hell knows? But all right, let's build a parlay.
yeah,
We
yeah.
got the first 2 legs so far.
Yanez
We
KO, and then
Yanez
Nolan.
by KO. Why is my app glitching?
I'm
Yeah.
getting the same.
All right, if
Hopefully
you
we
can
can.
you build it? My app is
I
glitching.
I am.
Okay,
I'm.
so Yanez KO is -110,
Yep.
and then Tom Nolan KO is -175.
Yep.
And then
What do you?
we probably need a solid 2 legs to make this, depending what the third leg is.
Well, if we keep it around like that 300 to 400 number, we could go maybe a little bit more conservative here.
Why don't
But
we go
what about Gatto
Themba
inside the
double
distance?
chance?
Okay.
Let's so Themba double chance on some KO or
Yeah.
decision +100.
Plus 500 on the dot, Maddie.
Oh
That's
man.
it. Meant to be. Meant to be.
Yeah.
So the parlay, if you have Tom Nolan knockout, Adrian Yanez knockout -110, and then Garimbo by knockout or points +100, you parlay them all together 5-1 on the dot.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat. Giannis KO. Oh, Brad got it. All
Money.
right, cool.
Money
Sweet.
plus 500
Yeah.
on the dot. Okay, so now we got to sprinkle.
I
Some,
really like that. I really like that.
yeah.
Like, how does that lose?
I don't know, man. Like we've gotten some bad beats before. Maybe gosh, I don't know. Maybe Yanez goes the distance. I think maybe is the path of failure there. But I really do think Yanez is looking to get back on track. Like I think we'll see a very aggressive version. Um, so
I'm putting this in as we speak
okay,
with my guy.
how about that? Um,
Uh,
so what are you thinking here for a long shot parlay? Do you have like a long shot that stands out to you on the card that you really like?
Give me 1 second. I'm putting this
No,
in.
all
I
good,
don't want to miss out. I don't want to forget to do this.
all good.
Yeah. So long shot. Let's see. Oh shit! I just sent it to the wrong guy. I kind of, dude. So I want to do a submission lay as the long
Okay,
shot. Are you in for
okay.
that?
I don't know if I love a lot of submissions on this card, but I can certainly try.
Well, if we even have 2, it could pay good.
Yep,
So I kind of want to go Carlston Harris,
sub. Okay,
and I have a crazy one.
okay. Alatang.
Yeah.
Okay, dude. Alatang was on my short list. So 20-1, and then what's Harris sub pay?
460 on
Okay, so
Harris.
if we tie them together, I guess it is a good decision. If I was thinking you were gonna give me, it is 116.6-1. So
A hundred. Wait, what is it?
so $10 on that pays 1,100. $10
Holy
pays
shit,
1,100. So Matt, if
bro.
you dropped $100 on that, it would pay 11 grand.
Bro, if I drop 1,000 on that.
If you drop 1,000 on it, you'll need to find someone that has bigger limits than FanDuel, but that's 116 grand for those two outcomes. I think it's interesting because you see the submission vulnerability with Cledson against Alatang Haile, and then we haven't seen chaos on his back yet.
All right, so here, Brad's gonna put this one in the chat.
Yeah.
He needs the name. He can't
Oh,
understand the name.
It's Alatang Haile, no
Right
space.
here. Just put Haile by sub.
Yeah, that's fine too.
Plus
Haile
2,000.
Plus 2,000. Yeah, and then
And
Harris sub.
And
plus
Harris by sub plus 460. 100 pays what?
$100 pays 11,000.
So plus what?
That's 116.6.
Plus 116.
Yeah.
Or plus, yeah, that's easier. Too many zeros. 100 pays 11,000. There we go.
Zeros are my world. That's all right. Again, bet responsibly on the long shot, but those are the type of ones Matty likes to have. And they hit.
Yeah.
I mean, honest to God, they
if
hit.
If you're $100 better, you should not bet more than $10 on that. Let me put it to you that way.
Correct.
$10 or $20.
That'll be my universe. So, but we'll have a little bit of fun.
I like that. Just imagine, because the Alatang fight's going to be way before. So if that 20-1 leg hits, you're just going to be begging Carlson Harris to pull out some magic here.
Yeah. He's got a great anaconda choke. I think Harris sub is.
He has 2 anaconda wins. I think like if he could get full mount and land some ground and pound, I think then getting his back could be live.
Yep.
You just never know, bro. He could definitely sub a real estate agent, bro. That's the way I look at
it. We have not seen chaos on his back. I think it's a very intriguing angle. I'm going to be on both of those props individually as well with the parlay. So those are our 2 parlays. Thank you again for
safety one. Here's a safer parlay.
Yeah, safer parlay, 5-1, Yanez KO, Nolan KO, Themba KO, or decision. And then the long shot, Carlston Harris sub, Alatang Haile sub, pays an absurd amount on $100. So thank you guys for tuning in. Not the best card, but the best audience as well, as always. Home of Fight YouTube, as well as my guy Mattybetts on YouTube, which is probably how you found us. My stuff will all be published on FanDuel Research. So FanDuel.com/research/UFC. I will have a full fight by fight breakdown in my individual podcast on Friday. Matty, when is the card dropping this week? Usual Friday night?
Usually Friday night. Some every now and then it's Saturday morning. Yeah. But I try by Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, guys, join the Discord. We'll make sure we link it. It's free to join. You're gonna get you're gonna get my plays, Austin's, some other cappers. Gilbert Burns is in the Discord. Renato Moicano is in the Discord.
Yep.
Home of Fight Discord, 100% free to join. Make sure you guys join in there. Also, if you're on Telegram, we now have a Home of Fight Telegram channel. You get every piece of news. It's like a text message almost. Every breaking news, every fight, every podcast that goes viral, everything is in Telegram as like breaking news. Goes right to your phones. You don't have to always scroll Twitter or Instagram to see what's going on in the MMA world. So that we'll put that in the description as well, but it's 100% free.
Awesome. Yeah, Matty's building a lot of great stuff. Make sure to support him because he's trying to get info you guys need. I saw Home of Fight was spamming out those Manchester invites. Happy birthday to me. One day after my birthday, I got a couple title fights, July 27th. So that'll be a good card. We are off next week. UFC is off for Memorial Day. So we will be back in 2 weeks' time. As Matty was saying, UFC 302, Makhachev, Poirier from... I believe that's in New York, New Jersey, correct?
New Jersey, yeah.
Yeah, it's in New Jersey. I don't remember exactly where, but we will have that card. We'll see if Matty's going to bet Poirier by submission, so you already know that. Tune in for the rest of our bets then. But until next time, I hope all of you guys' bets cash, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir.